On Friday, Donald Trump had a court hearing for his first E. Jean Carroll defamation verdict against him, the smaller one, the $5 million one. And for some reason, he decided to show up to that hearing instead of, going out and actually campaigning to save his dying campaign. But then, following the court hearing where things did not go his way at all, Donald Trump held a 45-minute press conference where he not only likely is going to get himself sued again because of what he said about E. Jean Carroll, but also with two of his lawyers flanking him, Alina Habba on one side, John Sauer on the other, he trashed his own legal team. And yes, those were two of the lawyers that worked on this case where they lost. And Donald Trump sat there in front of cameras, in front of God himself, and attacked the two morons standing behind him. Here is what Donald Trump started with. I feel sad I have to come up here and explain it. I have all of this legal talent, but legal talent cannot overcome rigged judges, and they can't overcome a 4% Republican area, and I'm disappointed in my legal talent. I'll be honest with you. They're good people. They're talented people. Today at the trial, they didn't mention the dress, so the Monica Lewinsky-style dress was a big part of the trial. Big part of the trial. I said, why didn't you mention that? And I heard there was a dress involved, and I wasn't frightened at all because I did nothing with her. I never touched this woman, saw this woman. I had no idea who she was, but they have a dress, sir. I said, so what? Well, sir, it's very serious. They use that dress and try to intimidate me, and they use that dress with the public. That dress was such a famous dress. It was Monica Lewinsky Part 2, the dress, and the judge wanted it for trial, and it was going to go into trial, and they found out there was nothing on the dress, which I knew, and then the judge wouldn't allow it to be used, so they used it as a cudgel. They used it as a hammer over my head. Isn't that the very same dress where you refused to give your DNA sample for? Right? So, probably a good thing your lawyers didn't bring it up. Yeah. See, because a simple DNA test, which again you refused for many years to give, would have proven whether or not the sample, we'll call it, on that dress was from you or not. In fact, if you hadn't done anything at all to this woman, you would have just immediately given your DNA sample during the discovery phase and put all this to bed. It would have proved it wasn't you. But you wouldn't do that. So now you're sitting there talking about these two idiots behind you who are sitting there like little children getting in trouble by daddy. And you're saying, I'm disappointed in them. They're talented. They're good. But man, they really screwed up here. A bunch of morons, these guys and this lady. Wow, look at them. Everybody look at them and laugh for just a moment, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. We all want to and we all do. We just weren't expecting you, Donald, to join us in mocking how horrible your lawyers are. But to be honest, it's not always all their fault. Now, yes, Alina Habba is not good at her job. I mean, I firmly believe that based on her track record with Donald Trump, she is in a position for which she is grossly unqualified to be in. John Sauer, I don't know enough about him, but clearly he's not doing a great job for you, and they're not great. But at the same time, they got to work with what they have. And when what you have is an egotistical, narcissistic, mentally declining maniac as your client, it's going to be hard for anybody to win that case. It's going to be hard for anybody to do a good job when you have this nutcracker as your client. They can only work with what you give them. And then Trump continued the rant. This time he's, laying off his lawyers a little bit, giving them a break. But this part of the rant probably gave his lawyers more to worry about than him actually attacking them. Because Donald Trump went on to say multiple different things that easily could get him sued for a third time by E. Jean Carroll, especially considering the fact that based on other statements he's made after the second trial, E. Jean Carroll's legal team has already said we're open to the idea of suing again. But here's what Trump said in that press conference about E. Jean Carroll. I never touched her. I would have had no interest in meeting her. She made up a story, fabricated 100% that I attacked her. Now that, of course, is defamation. That is what got Donald Trump sued in the first place. That was what the first lawsuit was all about, him saying she made it up. So you just said the same thing that already cost you $5 million, bud. Very dumb. And then it gets worse. Her favorite show is Law & Order. There's an almost exact story as her story in Law & Order about being attacked in the dressing room of a department store. That's her favorite show, Law & Order. You know, you say you don't know this woman, you don't know anything about her, you never met her. You sure as hell know a lot about her. Like, I do not know this woman. I never would have touched her, never would have gone near her. I mean, she's a woman whose favorite color is blue. Her favorite TV show is Law & Order. She likes to sip on a nice hot tea in the early afternoon. You know a lot about her, okay? Just saying. For somebody who swears you never seen her, never met her, you know a lot about her. And then, of course, the comments got even more disgusting. She said we became very intimate. She said I was making out with her, and then after 15 minutes that I grabbed her at a certain part, and that was when she had had enough. I start kissing her and making out with her? What are the chances of that happening? I know you're going to say it's a terrible thing to say, but it couldn't have happened, and she would not have been the chosen one. So apparently, according to Donald Trump himself, there are certain women, I guess, that he would do that to? I mean, let's read between the lines here, folks. Donald Trump is saying, I did not sexually assault this woman. She is not the one that I would shoot. Look, if I'm going to sexually assault somebody, let me tell you the criteria for what that person would look like. That is effectively what he is saying. She would not have been the chosen one, but there are other women that you would consider doing that with? Like, that's the part. Everybody's talked about that statement from him, but nobody that I have seen has talked about it in that context. This is Donald Trump telling us that, yeah, there are certain women who he would not even attempt to control himself around. That seems terrifying, right? That seems like, okay, maybe we need to keep Donald Trump away from all women. Because if there are certain women who have certain, criteria, certain features, certain whatever, if they're in certain locations, that suddenly Donald Trump is like, hey, I can't control myself. Whatever happens at that point happens. It's a beautiful woman in a dark alley. I mean, my God, this is almost an admission. And for the record, anything that Donald Trump says can be admissible in court. It's not necessarily an under oath type statement, but that statement right there can absolutely be used against him in court moving forward. And I hope they do it. I hope E. Jean Carroll's lawyers do go forward and file a third defamation lawsuit against him for claiming she made it up, claiming she stole it from Law and Order, and of course, saying that, hey, there are women I would do it to. She just doesn't happen to be one of them. Because I think that statement alone is probably going to be the one that seals the deal with a third jury. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.